this question we have a quadratic equation here, and it's in the completed to square form already. There you go. And first question, we've got to show that we can get that. Now I've done this one for you. So we're going to start off by doing x plus 1, which is x plus 1 times x plus 1, and everything there is multiplied by 3. And if we multiply two brackets together, we get x squared plus 1x, which is 2x plus 1. We multiply everything by 3, so this is going to give me 3x squared, 6x, which is the same as we've got over here. And then we have 3 times 1, which is 3, and then take away 12. The 3 is not being multiplied by the 12, so that 12 always sits there till the end, and then we finish off with that. Okay, so that's the first one. Now the second one, part B, is talking about the graph. So it says write down the coordinates of the vertex. And the important thing here is write down. So this doesn't really require any work. So I'm going to go up here to the completed to square form, and the vertex is inside the bracket there. I'm going to reverse the sign of the 1. So if it's plus 1, I'm going to make it minus 1. And the y coordinate comes from the end, so it's minus 12. So that's why it says write down, because there's no work involved. You just have to look at the completed to square form of that. So there's the coordinates. Write down the equation of the axis of symmetry. Now, although we've got to sketch the graph, I'm going to do a real quick sketch here. Well, actually, might be easier if I just draw the graph like that. It's a quadratic, and the vertex is the bottom point. And I already know the coordinates. And the line of symmetry is the one that goes up like this, that goes through the vertex. And that's an x equals, so it's x equals, and the x coordinate is minus 1 all the way through that line. So that's the answer for the equation of the axis of symmetry. Now on the mark scheme, if you haven't got x equals, you will lose a mark. So don't just put down minus 1. Write down the y-intercept. Now the y-intercept happens where x equals 0. So I'm going to put 0 into here. So that's nothing, and I'm left with minus 9. So the exact coordinate is 0 minus 9, or y equals minus 9. And then finally, this bit here is the bit that requires a little bit of work, and it's actually worth most of the marks in the 8 marks, is find the x-intercepts. So I'm going to take this form, although I could do it with this, but I'm going to take this form and I'm going to solve it equal to 0. So I've got this one here, and now I want to make it equal to 0. First thing is, if I divide this by 3, I divide this by 3, divide this by 3, and divide this by 3, I get x squared plus 2x minus 9. So sorry about my writing, I'm trying to do this with the mouse and it's not quite as good as it should be. So minus 3, equals 0. Now that will factorize. This here is a 2. Okay, that will now factorize quite neatly. You're looking for two numbers that multiply to give negative 3 and add together to give 2. So a little bit of thought here gives me x equals 3 and x equals minus 1. And those are the two that go in the bracket, but it's not the answers for solving the equation. Okay, because that equals equals 0. So my 2x numbers are minus 3 and 1. So x actually equals minus 3 and 1. So that's probably worth 3 or 4 of those marks. Right, hence, sketch the graph of f. Now this isn't a good enough sketch. This was just a quick, very loose sketch. So to sketch the graph, I will need to do this. Draw a pair of axes, and first thing, make sure you label them. Some mark schemes, you can lose a mark if they're not labeled. Let's go back and look at the important things that need to go on. I've got the roots, minus 3 and 1. So it goes through here at minus 3. And it goes through 1. Notice I'm not writing these, I'm not doing this to scale, it's a sketch. But what I am going to do is just mark these down as to exactly what they are. Now you can go back and check, but the vertex is halfway between, which was at minus 1 and minus 12. So I'm going to write that in as another coordinate. And I also knew that it went through 0, minus 9. So here's the fourth thing that I need to write in. So that's minus 9 there. And now I'm ready to sketch the graph, which is going to really test me with my skills using this. But basically, there's the vertex. So it needs to go through there like that. And I'm hoping you'll do a much better job than me. And it needs to go through like that. And it needs to be a smooth curve. And there's the sketch. So look at all the information we've got. The roots, the vertex, and the y coordinate, and the axis all labelled.